Salut.
Salut.
Real pumpkin. IPA. And
Yeah,
there's
IPA. What you got?
It was around, and I first got into great craft beer. Celis White was my fallback beer. But since
Celis White?
Yeah, brewed by Pierre Celis, who revived the style back in 1966 with Hoegaarden. So that was my fallback, or my first beer, ever just sort of wet the palate, and but now it's Hoegaarden. I think it's one of the first ones. It's either that or Sierra Nevada Pale. Or be one of
and that's one of the opposite ends of the spectrum in some ways. You know?
To a degree, but still both pretty light-bodied.
Okay.
And the Sierra, just again, it's somewhat of a cliche, but just that balance. You know, got a little bit of malt character. Only whole leaf hops, so it tends to be a little softer than the sort of the pellets actually tend to get a little bit more of an aggressive bitterness and hoppiness that we're more used to. But Sierra still only use 100% whole leaf hops, and it tends to have a beautiful hop aroma and flavor, but soften a little bit.
So the whole leaf hops, you think, is what makes the difference between like feeling that like nice balanced mouthfeel.
It really does,
like,
because
you know, any sort of like punch you in the face aggressive hop beers that we do here in the West Coast.
We did a double dry hopped IPA. Kyle, my brewer here in Berea, lives in La Habra, and he's growing some hops. He's got like the perfect location to grow hops on the deck. Yeah, but he grew some. I can't remember if he did Columbus. I think he actually had Centennials, which is what goes in the IPA. So we put them in a sock, and again, whole leaf, and it was a 1 keg deal for our craft beer festival we did in Corona in July. And it was amazing how just aromatic and soft it made the beer. Then we did a double dry hop California Gold that we used pellets of Amarillo for, and we just went, wow. You know, again, a little more punch in the mouth, a little more aggressive, and I'm more convinced now than ever that if we're going to double dry hop, I want to use whole leaf rather than pellets, because you get the aromatics and you get the flavor. It just doesn't quite give that slight little bit of harshness. You know, when I started back in the 90s, you know, your classic styles, and I think we, for the most part, brew true to style. But we do coffee beers, and we do some of the monster beers, like the Imperial Russian Stout and the barley wine, the Thomas Jefferson. For the longest time, a lot of people knew us for just those beers, 8% and above. And they kind of poo-pooed the Helles and the Cream and the Dunkel and the Oscuras and the Vienna lagers. Again, the more balanced beers. But people are coming around more to those classic styles.
Tone in that way. What are some of your favorite specialty beers that you brew that is? Again,
I go back to the lagers, which you know, we were doing at Dock Street. We did, again, 50 beers, so we were obviously doing a lot of different things. But one thing a lot of places don't do are the Helles, the Dunkel, the Oscura. You know, a lot of places do Doppelbock, so they do a Maibach. But that Oscura style, I think, is really interesting, especially for Southern California.
Mexican style.
I'm half Mexican. My mother's Mexican. You don't get it from my other Irish-Polish part. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. So, and then just for the Latino community here in Southern California, you know, Corona and the Mexican beers are fine. Pacifico is probably my favorite Mexican lager, but Negro Modelo is more like an Oscura, right? Sort of that Santiago Grappa, again, Vienna style, you know, that sort of second wave of immigrants going in south into Mexico. It's really kind of more northern Mexico, Arizona, New Mexico. But they set up shop there and they made their Vienna lager, but you know, slightly darker ingredients, and Oscura simply means dark, not black, just brownish, toasty, just to me a classic style. And we were actually making Oscura back even at Dock Street, which was pretty interesting.